And the Amazon strategy is super simple. It's get good real estate. So get your product detail page looking nice, have video, have images, have good content, send traffic.
Hi guys, welcome back to Behind the Perfect Startup podcast. And today we have with us Michael Marr, who's the Chief Idea Officer of Cartology. Hi Michael, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you doing, Arisha?
I'm good too. Thank you for being on the podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Happy to share, my entrepreneurial journey. I know that community has been something that's been really important for me as an entrepreneur. So happy to share that with you.
Yeah, it's lovely. All right. So, Michael, would you like to please go ahead and give a brief introduction about yourself and your company?
Yeah, so currently I own and run a service agency called Cartology, and our whole entire focus is helping brands to grow visibility, revenue, and become profitable on the Amazon marketplace. There's a ton of potential out there, and knowing how to activate that potential and turn it into actual dollars is essentially what we do. And part of the way we do that is through storytelling, making sure we're explaining the brand to people, the benefits, all that kind of stuff. I got started as an entrepreneur almost 13 years ago. I just really didn't like the job I was in. And so I had some e-commerce skills. I knew how to sell products on eBay. I had a buddy who had more business sense than me, help me kind of understand how, buying new products and reselling them on eBay could work. And so I started doing that, made a little investment, eventually was able to leave the job that I was at while I was, building this e-commerce business, and started selling on Amazon, started selling on some of my own sites. I did that for about 6 years. And then back in 2016, transitioned into the service side of the industry. So now helping brands to be successful on Amazon. I mean, there's other marketplaces out there. There's other e-commerce platforms like Shopify, Magento. Our focus is really Amazon, and we're also starting to explore Walmart.com just because we feel like that's going to be the next biggest competitor. But basically what we do day in and day out is work with clients, develop those relationships with them, make sure we actually know what it is that they want, and then create strategy and go out and then handle the actual tasks, the execution of the strategy to make sure that they're getting the results they want.
That all sounds good. And I'm so happy for you that you found something that you love doing. It must be an amazing feeling. And from what I've captured about you, you pursue everything you put your heart into, whether it's college or whether it's college degree or business or entrepreneurship. Do you see yourself maybe going back to pursue your dream of becoming a rock star anytime soon, since you've already rocked the other areas?
Well, that's a very well put question. I do love playing music, and I do play pretty regularly. I play piano typically once a day, and I also play drums about once a month at a church in that I go to in the Cincinnati area. I don't spend as much time recording and writing music as I'd like to. Do I ever see myself pursuing being a rock star? If the opportunity presented itself, which typically those things don't, I can't say I would just totally turn it down. But I am, always interested in finding ways to make music and to be impactful with that. And I think that's one of the things that I was missing in the desire to be a rock star. It was, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to be known, and have people love my music and all that kind of stuff. And I think I was in it for the wrong reasons. It should ultimately be about, using the gifts and the talents that God has given you to impact people positively. So if you can do that as a famous musician, great. If you can do it as a businesswoman, so be it.
Yeah. So I'm only saying you still have a chance. And I've seen a lot of singers who, later on in their life, after having successful business and everything, they get on to their dream as well. So good luck with that. And I really admire how you've been so honest about your experiences. And you've put it on your LinkedIn as well, that after you finished your college, you felt directionless. And I'm sure, I sure felt that way too. I mean, it was like, I finished college, I'm done with that. Now what? And well, if you ask me, I don't think it's a negative thought, because it opens up the possibility of all the amazing things, and you just have to decide what more fitting to your skill set and move ahead with that. So what I'm trying to ask you is, what was going on in your mind at that time, and how did you overcome that phase in your life?
Yeah, I mean, you're right that feeling directionless really depending upon how you look at it, it can actually mean there's lots of opportunity out there for you. And one of the issues I was facing is I didn't have a clear path or direction that I wanted to pursue, or that I felt like was viable and that would actually help me earn a living. Making music was not to pay the bills was not something that was an option for me. And I got a very general degree in college. I majored in Asian studies. I just taken Japanese for a long time, and I went to my advisor and said, "What do I have the most credits to get out of school with?" And Asian studies general degree was what popped up. So I pursued that, and it was, I was working at Starbucks at the time, and so I think one of the issues when you feel directionless, or maybe like you're not really sure what your purpose is, there's a tendency to do either a lot of different things and not really commit to one. And so at the time I was thinking, what am I going to do? What's my career going to be? And so instead of going all these different directions, I just said, okay, well, I'm going to commit to working my way up at Starbucks, become a store manager, see where that takes me. When I got there, when I had done the job for a little while, I just realized I didn't like it. And so I picked a different path. And I think the most important step anybody could take is just trying to take a step forward. So even if you feel like you're unsure of the direction, don't stand still, try and make some progress in something. It's likely going to become a part of your journey. And I ultimately believe that God uses every single piece of your journey to either be impactful to you or to others, whether you know it or not, throughout your life. So your journey is your journey. If you take a left here and you realize, oh, I need to back up, you back up, you go straight, you do whatever you need to do. That's part of your journey. It's so cliche to say, but there really is no set path. And a lot of people still have this idea or notion, I think even as entrepreneurs, that it's create this product, get funding, scale, sell, become Mark Zuckerberg or whomever the next big CEO that people want to focus on, Jeff Bezos, whomever it is. And those people are unicorns. It's not who most people are going to be. So I think just at that time, I felt like, what direction should I go? And as soon as I started taking steps forward, that's when I actually started to make progress and realize, okay, I'm investing in something I don't really want to do anymore. So I want to change paths.
Yeah. So you somehow land where you're supposed to be. And of course, the path is not full of flowers. It's in fact full of thorns and all kinds of
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah, life is filled with pain. That's a part of life. It's something that if we're trying to escape, we're going to fail at miserably. And if anything, I would say, embrace those times of pain, because they really can teach you something.
They sure can. And you have to experience the painful parts to appreciate the happy moments, right? So that's a good takeaway.
I've heard people say, and maybe I myself have even said, I can't really be impactful where I'm at right now. How can I help people in the position that I'm in right now? And to that, I would say, you certainly can't be helpful in a position you're not in. So you may want to be CEO of a company, but you're not CEO of a company. So you can't do anything in that position right now because you're not in it. Do everything that you can from the position that you're currently in, and not be satisfied with that, but be content in knowing that I'm where I'm supposed to be, and that if it really is not about a destination, then where I'm at and it's about the journey, every single place that I'm at is important.
That's very well put. Yeah, I second that. So Michael, could you please tell us about your past experiences and how you got where you are today?
So I told you a little bit about, just feeling directionless in school. And I did drop out at one point to pursue being a rock star. I was a drummer and I was singing in a band. And as soon as I dropped out of school, the band just broke up. Didn't even really stay friends with the people. And it was not a good, like, hey, cool, we're just going to part ways kind of thing. So it really blew up in my face, and, finished going to school, went to Starbucks, didn't like what I was doing, found my way into e-commerce. And was not classically business trained. So I made a lot of mistakes and didn't really understand finances in my business. And I have made it a point, the longer as time goes on, to just get help and ask for help in areas that I'm not super confident in. So, I didn't major in accounting. I didn't have even a course in accounting. But after, having different CPAs and bookkeepers and having to do some bookkeeping myself for my own business, I have a better understanding of how accounting works in my business. I'm not going to advise people as an accountant, nor do I have a desire to do that. But if someone's run an Amazon business before, I can say, hey, here's how I set the books up for me, and here's how this worked, and here's what my bookkeeper did, and here's how we work this out with my accountant. So those experiences have helped me to shed some light for other people, and I had to learn a lot along the way. So I learned, I made some mistakes, I had some successes, and really one of the biggest reasons why I'm in this service agency role now is in 2016, my business just really, the sales started to what felt like drop overnight. And it had turned out that Amazon had opened up the marketplace in 2015 to a bunch of sellers from China. So now all these manufacturers that were making products and people were, selling for a markup, they're now selling similar products for, what I was buying them for. And so I couldn't sustain that. So I had to very quickly pivot and say, what am I going to do with this skill set? And so I said, I'm going to try doing some freelance work in e-commerce. I actually got another job while I was figuring out what I wanted to do. As I started taking on, very general e-commerce projects, I realized, wow, there's a lot of work needed and requested for Amazon. There's a lot of potential there, and I like that. So I just started prioritizing that work, saying that, I was an Amazon specialist, an Amazon expert. I had experience selling, as a business owner. So I felt confident enough that I knew enough to help the person. And if there's something I didn't know, I was determined enough to figure out, what the next step would be. And so really building that agency was new. I've never built an agency before. Again, made some mistakes, but I feel like I've had some great successes, and I have been able to work with a lot of different people. My agency is 100% remote. So when COVID did hit, it did not impact us the same way it did other people who, had to figure out what working from home was like. Everyone on my team works from home. This is my home. I had a sort of an office that I would go into that I shared with some people, but, really working out of my home. And so that didn't really impact us that much, but that's continued to, we've continued to hone our service over that time. There's a lot of opportunity for product-based companies, because during the pandemic, because people stopped going to the store, they weren't allowed to, and they started buying stuff online. And so we really had to say, how are we going to capture that and turn it into potential for our clients? So, the reason I'm here doing what I'm doing today is because of what looked like a failure at the time, a failure of one part of my business, and I've now gone into this totally different direction of thriving. And it's an exciting place to be because there's so much opportunity.
Yeah, and I think it's safe to say that you learned a lot over the years, because once you are in a growing startup, you have to act as a salesperson, you are the accountant, and you are doing your own marketing. So it is a hell of a journey. I can say that. Yeah.
Yep, that's for certain. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Michael, how was this idea of running a custom done for you Amazon service agency born?
It was really born out of that. It was born out of a couple of things. It was born out of seeing the need for Amazon services, then realizing the people that needed help, how much did they really know about Amazon? And also working with some people who made me realize, okay, I don't want to do things this way. I don't want to do things the way that they're doing it. I want to do it a different way. So there were multiple influences, and it was very organically grown out of my desire to serve others. That's something that is just kind of in my DNA and in my makeup. I tell people that I feel God just said, okay, you're going to serve. And so you find out how you're going to serve people. And so the way I'm serving people now is helping their brands to grow and be successful on Amazon. But it really started out of a desire to, still want to do my own thing. I wanted to be able to direct the company in the direction I wanted to go. I wanted to be impactful. I wanted to determine what services where I felt I am the visionary type. So I mean, that is my personality, to get out in front, to try new things, experiment. And then when it needs to be refined and really polished and looking great, I hand that over to someone else and they really refine it. And I'm out there kind of hacking my way through the jungle with my machete. That's how I see myself as an entrepreneur. And so it was born very organically out of wanting to serve people well, knowing that there was a need for e-commerce, and also seeing for Amazon Help specifically, and just also knowing, okay, here's how things are typically done as an agency, and I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it a different way. And so it was really about, how do I get proof of concept for the way that I want to do it, and how do I make a living doing what I think is possible. And so sometimes there's theory that you have to act on. You have to step out in faith and say, I think this way of doing things is going to work. You have to deal with a lot of no's. You know, if I only heard yeses, then I probably, I really don't even know. I don't know how much I would have learned if all I heard was yeses. So hearing those no's tells you, okay, either this prospect isn't my ideal client, or my price is not right, or I don't know how to define my service well enough. And so that's why you go and ask for help and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. People who have done it before say, yeah, you've got a good service. Your price is fine. You're just not presenting it well. Here's what you need to do. So asking for help is everything was born kind of organically and formed together, and asking for help is how I was able to refine and polish those things into something that people will say, yes, here's money to help us, grow our business on Amazon.
That's really inspiring, and it's very good to know that how you were always into helping others, and we sure do rise from lifting others. So that's something I live by as well, and it's good to know. So Michael, would you like to share with the audience some of the many ways Amazon can be an outstanding platform for their retail businesses?
Yeah, most people today are going to Amazon to do product research. So, I mean, they're using it as a search engine. 54% of people are going to Amazon. Google's like in the 20%, 20 percentile, however you'd say that. So people are going just to find out about products or do product research. They're going to Amazon to look. And if your brand is either not on there or it's not represented well for a variety of reasons, then that could affect someone's purchase decisions on your own website, in store. So it's definitely a branding play in that sense, but it's also from a revenue perspective, it could affect revenue externally. And there's also 300 million active users that are getting on Amazon purchasing, I think in 2020, it was $147 billion worth of goods. So there's a lot of money to be had there. If you're not tapping into that revenue, then you're missing out for your company. And it takes someone very skilled who has experience with that. And fortunately for me, not a lot of people have experience in that. That's why I have an opportunity to have a job and have a role, as I've had experience, and things continue to get more complicated. So, myself and my team have to stay up on all those things. And meanwhile, other people are just trying to get into the space and to learn, how to make things work. But, Amazon is the biggest marketplace in North America, at least. It takes up 40% of all e-commerce sales, and e-commerce is just continuing to grow as a part of total retail sales. I mean, brick and mortar is still going to be very much a part of, and still is the predominant channel for retail, but e-commerce is growing, and there's a lot more ways to tap into commercializing or generating revenue for your business. And Amazon is, they're bringing people there. People are going there because they trust Amazon. And so if you can leverage that trust, you can earn a living or generate revenue from that channel and have it be something that's sustainable, that continues to grow for you as Amazon grows, as product selection grows, all that kind of stuff.
That's right. There's all this potential, and there are like a lot of people, a good fraction of people who don't even, who are not even, familiar with it. So what do people get wrong about the algorithm on Amazon, and how can it be avoided?
People try to chase it. That's where I think they make the biggest mistake. They're thinking, okay, Amazon doesn't outright say we factor in these 30 things. They've said, here's some things that are impactful. There's a lot of people who have done tests and said, here's what we've seen work. And I think people try to chase the algorithm and say, well, let's get our products. We need to get the best SEO right here and get this, move this title word to the beginning, move this other thing to the back and switch these 3 positions. Like, you should be thinking about strategy when you're creating a product detail page or you're creating that landing page that people are going to look at. But when you're focusing so much on how the algorithm is going to pick it up, I think you're missing sight of what Amazon really is about, which is looking at holistically. So strategy is it's forgetting about strategy and chasing the algorithm. And the Amazon strategy is super simple. It's get good real estate. So get your product detail page looking nice, have video, have images, have good content, send traffic to that real estate. So utilize advertising on Amazon, utilize advertising towards your products on Amazon, and then optimize. Just analyze and optimize. Those are the 3 things when it comes to strategy. And execution is where it gets really tricky, because knowing what lever to pull to get the right traffic to go to your product detail page, to your real estate, it's not always so cut and dry. And knowing even where to find that, it's not cut and dry. So that's just chasing the algorithm in general, I think, is, people think it's like you're going to outsmart it or something, and generate sales for your products. That's what Amazon wants. They want your products to sell, generate sales. That's how you get your products ranked higher in search. Amazon wants to put, everything's about the customer. So Amazon wants to put the products that are going to sell in front of their consumers.
So it's that simple, and it's interesting. So I'm sure this is going to be very helpful for the audience. So what kind of industries and companies do you work with? And is there a reason for choosing this particular area or industries?
We're open to all. It's really more, we consider ourselves the medium subject matter. So how people are selling is what we're specialized in. We do work with a lot of CPG companies, personal care, food. I've been working with a lot of cosmetics companies recently. There are a lot of new people are becoming very specific about what they're wanting to purchase. They want to know what the company's about. They want to know how the product is going to benefit them. You can't just say, hey, I've got a new moisturizer. Well, there's like 100 different moisturizers, facial moisturizers in the market. Why should someone choose yours? And that's part of branding. It's knowing who your target audience is. It's knowing what your brand stands for, the story you're wanting to tell. So we basically work with brands who have a defined target audience. They've got a brand story. They've got a mission statement. There are, resellers and private label sellers out there who are private label sellers are like, taking a phone case and saying, hey, I'm going to put my brand name on this. If I just put Cartology on it, then that's our product. They're kind of taking what's working on the market and shaping their product line based on that. And brands are really saying, hey, we've created a unique product. Here's why you should care about it. And we're having to help them work on Amazon.
All right. So that sounds really interesting. And I think people, if they know the backstory or, how this product was born and about the company, they are more likely to look into the products and actually buy them. So that's what you're doing for the companies. It's amazing. And
Thank you. I feel amazing.
Yeah, very well. So for all the small business owners in the audience, what 3 advice would you like to give them that would have been helpful to you when you started?
I would just say you don't have to have it all figured out, but you got to ask for help. Don't let your pride get in the way of that. Ask for as much help as you possibly can. Some people are going to be willing to give it to you for free. Take advantage of that. Some people might charge you, and if they're valuable, pay them for their advice. There's a lot of things that I become a lot better at because I hired someone to help me become better. So I was officially trained for something, but I said, I want to get better at this. So maybe you take a course or you hire a coach or something like that, but just to ask for help. The other second piece I would say is celebrate your successes. I think entrepreneurs have a really hard job ahead of them trying to create what feels like something from nothing. So celebrate the successes. I was very hard on myself in the beginning, and really up until even recently, just saying, I got to do better, I got to do better. But like celebrate what you've done well and tell yourself the right story. I am a success. I am, of value.
Right. So that's how you enjoy the whole process and you grow along with it. So that's a great advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. What future plans do you have for Cartology? And when I say future, I mean 2022, because we're halfway into December now. So what are your future plans?
The goals for Cartology in 2022 are to really expand the number of clients we're able to serve. So I feel like we've got a really good service offering. So it's going to be about getting out to those people, getting in touch with the right prospects, signing the right clients that we feel like we align with, that we feel have a strong brand. And it's going to be about exploring some other channels too. Like I said, Walmart.com. How can we help clients to grow what we feel like is going to be a very good competitor to Amazon? And we understand how marketplaces work. So we feel like that medium is an area where we can grow our subject matter, as opposed to, trying to be an SEO expert on Google. That's totally different than trying to, handle a marketplace or manage a brand on a marketplace. So kind of growing our marketplace knowledge and expertise. Those are really the main things that we're focusing on, and finding ways to help brands, even if they don't want to outsource directly to us, helping brands to build out, what Amazon, an Amazon department could look like at their company too. I think those are kind of the main three things: is growing clients, expanding marketplaces, and helping people develop their own in-house teams.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Michael, would you like to add something for the audience? Any advice or tip or any upcoming projects that you might want to give us a hint about?
I have a podcast called The Longer Game. If you go to thelongergame.com, you can go and listen. The podcast is all about retail. It's talking about retail in the future, what's happening now, what do I think is going to be happening in 5 years, 10 years, et cetera. We've got guests that span from in-store to Amazon specific. So, take a listen, share it with people. We've even got people that are coming on talking about, finance. How can you finance a retail business in today's day and age? All that kind of stuff. It's anything and hopefully everything you could want to know about retail as we go along. But we're in our inaugural season, so there's still more content to come.
That sounds good, and I sure will be one of the people to go over and listen to your podcast. It does sound amazing. So, ending this podcast with the question that I really want to know the answer to. So, Christmas festivities are going to start really soon. What does Christmas look like in your household?
Yeah, so I've got some Christmas lights up behind my computer here. We enjoy the decorations. We try to take in as many of the movies that we really like as possible. Some years we're like, man, we've seen this one like 5 times. And then other years it's like, it just flew by. But it's really about, Christmas Eve, we get together, hang as a family, my parents, my in-laws, my wife, my daughter, myself, a couple other close family members. We all get together. Christmas morning, it's just my wife and daughter and I, and we open gifts in the morning, and then we all go to my parents' house. That same group on Christmas Eve goes to my parents' house on Christmas Day. So it's a really close, tight-knit group. We get to, share with each other special time and celebrate Jesus's birth. So I mean, it's really about that. It is a time, I think, to reflect too, and think, what's been accomplished this year, what do I want to accomplish in the coming year. But I would say really it's about spending family time together and having good food and drink. That's a big part of the festivities, the celebrating part.
That sounds lovely. I wish you a Merry Christmas and a really Happy New Year.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, same to you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for being on the podcast. It was lovely having you, and I'm sure the audience will have a lot to take away from your journey and your advices. Thank you for taking your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.